I'm fucking peaking after that weekend, dude.
That party.
Yeah. Okay, we got hot takes World Cup edition, and man, just like we wrote it up, Morocco's in the Final Four.
Yep.
We got an aging Croatia that's there. Dude, Kyle, how did we get here?
Whole lot of absurdity. It was
Yeah,
a wild weekend.
PKs.
PKs, missed penalty kicks, a lot of fouls, a lot of just good soccer, good football. My bad.
Yeah, and England bowed out. I was hoping
Yes.
that they would, make a stand. They had a really good, I mean, they had such a good crew coming in. The hope was that they could kind of edge out France there,
Yeah.
for at least from my standpoint.
Yeah.
But it's just France just is finding a way despite the injuries, and
Hmm.
they're one step away from coming back to the finals.
Yeah. I think that game for me, I was telling Gabe, that was that was Christmas morning. That game was awesome. I think in the end, I know Harry Kane had that second penalty to tie it up in the
Hmm.
end. He sent it over the bar, and it was pretty cool. His teammate at Tottenham Hotspur, Hugo Lloris, in goal. He made the first one. Second one was trying to go the same way and just skied it. But I mean, I think France now. I mean, they got Morocco. You can't really doubt Morocco anymore. They're in the semifinal at this point, so they're not just a fluke anymore.
Well, it's just let's look at the semifinals now. We got it looks like the immovable force versus a bunch of creativity on both ends of things. You got,
Hmm.
like you said, Morocco and France. You got Argentina and Croatia. Let's talk about Argentina and Croatia.
Yeah,
You got Lionel Messi versus a Croatia team that is just getting it done with defense and getting it's just ugly. Where they just 1-1, 0-0, getting to the PKs.
penalties. Yeah.
Their goalie's a stud out there. What do we think is going to happen there?
I think at this point you gotta go with a story tale finish. Argentina and Messi. I mean, Brazil's bowed out, so that's another favorite that's gone. I think we could have seen Argentina and Brazil, obviously. Everyone would have loved to seen that, but I think now you got to go with the story tale finish. Argentina goes all the way, they win it. Messi goes out on top. Ronaldo bowed out, so the whole Messi Ronaldo,
Hmm.
you know. Um, but Croatia, like sort of like Morocco. I mean, obviously went to the final in 2018, so they're experienced. They can get it done, but I think Argentina is gonna sneak by them.
I'm gonna go against you on this one just because I
Okay.
keep hearing like
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like the storybook. Dude, Croatia's just making things dirty and just mucking things up. And if it goes to PKs, there's nobody better than Croatia out
Right.
there. I think the pressure's not on them. And Messi doesn't have the best history with
Hmm.
PKs. So if you go into the final moments and they're there, goal line and everything, I think it's going to go Croatia's way.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a 1-1 situation, just a
PKs.
dirty ass game going to PKs
Oh
again.
wow.
Croatia's going to find a way,
Yeah.
or I could be completely wrong, which I normally am. All right, we're going to go to Morocco and France. Like I said, Morocco coming in, they're the first African nation to reach the semis. Just a
Incredible.
good story.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously we're picking France, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I'm picking France. I think the Cinderella story is going to come to an end here in the semifinals. France is just, you look at their roster on paper, and I mean, they're destined to just go all the way. And I think they're on a collision course with Argentina. I think both those two teams just have too
mhm.
much talent not to get there. But yeah, like I said, that France England game was incredible. And I mean, I could see, honestly, coming off a game like that, I could see a little story for, France losing just because they're such a high versus England. That felt
Mhm.
like a final.
Right.
That felt like a semifinal or a final. And then coming and playing Morocco, sort of
The
just
emotional letdown.
exactly.
Hmm.
There's not really that big two-team name feel
Hmm.
when you get Morocco. So I mean, I don't think France is going to think they're just going to walk in there and
Right.
pummel them, but I could see sort of that happening. A little bit of a trap game maybe for
Okay.
France.
Okay.
But I think France still wins.
I think France still wins. I think at some point the dam is going to burst open. Morocco has just used that back line,
Yeah.
and they have just been just one of the best
Yeah.
defenses I've seen in a World
Yeah.
Cup. Period.
Yep.
And so you can make the case that if Kylian Mbappe isn't at his absolute best,
Hmm.
but then still France is just so creative; they'll find a way.
Right.
Morocco's had a couple injuries here and there, but Yeah, I think it's going to be something where the dam bursts open,
Right.
France 3-1, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And let's look ahead now. Where do we see next Sunday? Who do you think comes away with it, the whole thing? I've got my pick, but what are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's Argentina, France.
Okay.
I think France repeats. I think
Okay.
they do. I just Mbappe, Griezmann, that combo. I think competes with anyone. I think one, they're experienced. They know
Hmm.
how to win it. And I'm feeling a nice little story on a repeat. I think a back to back feels right in this World Cup. I don't know why.
Okay. If Argentina's there, I definitely, see Messi and Argentina, but I think Croatia's going to get the best of them. And I think it's France to win again. I just
Hmm.
think they're going to do enough against Morocco. They're going to be riding high, and going to face a Croatia team next Sunday, and it's going to be France to repeat.
Right. Same
Or
final too.
yeah,
Same exact final.
exactly. Just like we wrote it up a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And now let's take a tour of another crazy sport, the NFL. It was a pretty crazy weekend. It's been a crazy season, period. The Bills were going to run away with everything. They were caught in the snow all this weekend.
Yep.
But take us, what were some of the games, some things that you saw out there, Kyle, this weekend that you were like, okay, this is some notable things going on.
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is Cowboys versus Texans. I think we were just talking about trap games. I think the Cowboys went into Houston thinking they were going to just put
Them,
up
them
50.
and their fans think that
Yes.
they're done with the season. They've already won the Super Bowl. It's
Yes.
done.
Yeah.
But there's a few more weeks to go. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's just sort of weird. I mean, I had them as my defense and they let up 24 to Houston, and it was just a little interesting, a little odd there.
Hmm.
But ultimately, they win, they walk away with a W, but I don't know. The Cowboys might, I mean, they play Philly either next week or the week after. Philly's still riding the high. I mean, Philly can't, Jalen Hurts can do nothing wrong.
Hmm.
AJ Brown, Miles Sanders, if you have any of them on your fantasy team, you're probably putting up good numbers this year.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think we had a lot of good games. I mean, the 1 o'clock game, obviously, Buccaneers at Niners. No one really saw Tom Brady's homecoming going like that, I don't think.
Has he checked out already? Is he in the broadcast booth already? Is it just.
I don't know. I mean, the Buccaneers, that division is so bad that
Mhm.
they're probably going to end up in the playoffs. I think they still end up in the playoffs, even being 6 and 7.
Okay.
But the Niners look as good as the Eagles right now.
Hmm.
I know Debo Samuel went down with a knee injury yesterday, so that's a little bit of a loss for the Niners. But Brock Purdy looks like the second coming of Tom Brady. I
Hmm.
mean, just sort of Mr. Irrelevant comes out and I think he threw for 2 touchdowns and, 200, 300 yards.
Okay.
But yeah, and I think the last game of note is Sunday Night Football is a good one. Chargers and Dolphins. I think the Chargers knew it was a must-win for them at home, um, and the Dolphins didn't look very good. It was a little
Hmm.
interesting. Tua was, not himself. I think he started the game like 2 for 13 passing,
Right.
and sort of an interesting play in that game. I don't know if you saw it, but
Mm-mm.
Tyreek Hill a little bit of a fumble and just ended up at his feet, picks it up and just
And
runs for
took it to the
70
house,
yards.
right?
Yeah, and this I was like, that's the only way they're gonna score, and they're like, sort of just how they drew it up.
So play real quick, hot or not. What's one team that you think is going to stay hot through the rest of the season, going to go into the playoffs, and what's one team that's been at the top that you think is taking a step back, that's kind of in trouble going into the playoffs?
I think nobody can say that the Eagles aren't gonna just continue to. Um, I mean, they put up 50 every week,
Hmm.
no matter who they play. So I think the Eagles are my team that's just very hot. They're gonna stay hot.
Okay.
I think my team that took a step back this week I didn't mention is the Tennessee Titans,
Okay.
losing to Jacksonville at home by 2 touchdowns almost. So I know the Titans are always there in the AFC picture in the end, but losing to Jacksonville at home this late in the season is something that worries me.
Okay. So Eagles flying high, Titans.
Trending
Time
down.
time to worry. Okay.
Yes.
That's it for us today. So thanks. Appreciate
See you guys.
it.